Well, I was still living in New Jersey at the time. Um, what kind of brought it out to me, um, one summer I came home to visit. My parents and everybody was still here. I was living in Plainfield, New Jersey. And I noticed that even the children in the South um, wasn't exposed to the land of the farm. And my dad was still out here, but many of the grandchildren wasn't out here, didn't come out to learn, and they seemed to be void of any knowledge or understanding. My brother Crawford and I talked about that. So when I went back to New Jersey, Chris and I put together a little program. It was supposed to be a little community program trying to do something about bringing about awareness to children, people. And I started to grow some vegetables on some city-owned land, maybe a few blocks from me. And it was always in my bones growing up out here. So me and a few friends of mine, particularly from the South and the city, encouraged us to grow gardens out there because they, they wouldn't have to tend it. So anybody that wanted to use that land, you just stake off a little plot. So I had my plot of land. So when I went back this particular year, I wanted to try to get some kids together. And it occurred to me to try to get some children. So I took my little van and I rode around the community and spoke with some children. Would you like to try your hand at farming? Would you like to go out to the farm with me? Then, to my surprise, they said yes. And of course, we cleared it with their parents. And I think I got about six put in the little van and went out there and started digging. And they were working with me, planting, helping preparing the garden. And so it just went from there. When I found out how interested they were and how it was resonating so well, we went on with it. And uh, the word got out to the newspaper. It was Plainfield Courier was the name of the paper. And the title was "Children Get to Eat Their Lessons." That was the heading on that. And these kids, the first year, well, they did so well, and I told them that we were going to sell some of their product. So we set up a little stand, vegetable stand right by the street. And I talked to some of the adults and neighbors and said, go down there and participate, buy something from the kids, show them that you appreciate them. So sure enough, yeah, they went down there, we saw little stands up and we weighed the products. And when they sold, they got to keep the money. And I told them that at the end of the season, we'd open up a bank account, a saving account for them. I wrote, I think another article they did. I told them that children were peer-oriented, and what we need to do is start a new peer orientation. So that served as that purpose, and they would come to me and say, "Brother Wali, my friends want to come to the farm." I said, "Sure," and I used the word farm. I wanted them to think bigger. When they grow up, you'll be a farmer, not just a garden. So they said, they come. Can my friends come to the farm? And when they come, and some of the children who were more advanced, I didn't do the tour. I let them do the tour. Krista, little girl, Krista was favorite at that. And Krista would run out. She was explaining, this is a cabbage, and this is this, and this does this, and I just sit back and watch. And the parents said, sure, bring your friends, bring their mothers and their parents. So you also have to teach parents too. That's another thing. So you get a chance to pass on the information to them, not just children. And I found another thing out. The children are great teachers. My same group of little farmer children in New Jersey, one of my members of the little organization that we had, there was a little community that you had barbershops and things in this little area. And they started a cleanup campaign, want to keep things clean. And my little children were like the enforcers. They wouldn't allow anybody to throw some trash, anything on the ground. Mister, don't put that over there. It's embarrassing having a child have to tell an adult how to keep something, follow. And You should see that. Okay, son, I'm going to go pick it up now and put it in the trash can. Don't try that. This is our community. We want to keep it clean. And I like that. I said, I've had parents come up and say, what you teaching our children? They, when they come home and they said that you teaching them, and Brother Wali said do this, and Brother Wali said, I said, am I doing anything wrong? And no. And one of the articles, I think the one that Ebony wrote about me was one of the parents told me that they were so happy and proud that I was being able to affect the children in a positive way. I said, I guess that's all I want to do. And when the children looking for models and examples, I remember one little girl, her name was Laurie, and Laurie had a very difficult home. Both of her parents were on drugs, mother and father. I met them. And she didn't always know where she was going to be. And I would always teach them, giving back. We talked about this when we did that whole concept of God is about giving back and not about taking everything. And Laurie, when she gets to experience that, her first day of planning with the kids, she wrote to the Dairy Queen. After we finished, I would take them to get ice cream. So she was sitting right behind me where I was driving, and she tapped me on the shoulder. Brother Wali, can I ask you a question? I said, yes. She said, why are you so nice to people? I thought for a minute, and I said, well, people are the highest form of life in God's creation. And when I'm being nice to people, I'm giving honor and respect to God. She said, they're looking for answers. And if they see something out here that's wrong, and you show them what's right, they are very, very astute to picking it up. When I would teach them about giving back, I don't have to browbeat them or force anything. I tell them in such a way that they can think and pick it up. Yes. Or we do things to show it. We would go clean up a yard for an elderly person. I said, no, we're going to help her. She's this elder. And so you are happy to give back and help this older lady or older person. Yeah, so the concept of giving back. And when somebody is not present, we chip in and hold her role. If Crystal is not there, if Laurie is one of those, and we should. Or who's going to hold Crystal's role? They would all, I hold her, I hold her. They all jump right in and volunteer to give back. And when children learn that and to find that it makes them a better person, you don't have to worry about teaching them not to steal, not to do drugs. You're already planting that thought, but it's inside of that child and that person. And you don't have to be there to make them study or to make them, there's nothing like that, that self-will, that person that you want to be and how you, and my thing is that be all that you are capable of being, and don't cheat yourself, don't cheat God, and don't envy anyone else, but everybody was given something. And another child, a person, a talent, a skill, doesn't take anything from you. Hope that they do better with this child. Wish them well. Do anything to assist them. Don't do anything to try to take away from anyone. And if you live by that philosophy, then you're a freer person. You're happier. You're happy if the other person do well. And the question is, have you cultivated what you have, your talent, your skill? Be good at it. And the reason they call it string beans, they go up a string. And the cucumbers is producing now, ready to eat right now. They're good when they're nice and tender before they get big. Okay, the next two beds are onions. This is red onion. It does. It just gets bigger, spreads out. It'll be a big onion, which is good for seasoning your food. We have here they call early peas or June peas, all sweet peas. They have all those names. And this is June. This is the month they're ready to eat. There's a little pink flower that comes on the plant. And when you see that, not pink, I'm sorry, purple. And when you see that flower, that means that there's potato on the bottom. For him, see the little potato at the bottom? That's good. I have some basic things that are very good for this particular area here. And potatoes, onion. You have to have onion with your season. You know I'm going to plant that. Peas, which people love. I love them myself. What helped me decide there's some things I love to eat. Beets. I have more beets here, and this is not a popular vegetable. When people say they don't like vegetables, certain vegetable, everything has to be seasoned. If you like chicken, you wouldn't like it if somebody just took a piece of raw chicken and put it on the plate. It's how it's seasoned, right? Well, it's the same thing with anything else. Beets are delicious and pickle, and it's a very healthy vegetable. Very healthy vegetable. And the next two beds are tomatoes. Now, tomatoes is my staple crop. I will have more tomatoes than anything else because it's a base. You can make soup with it, pasta, on and on. Well, like all plants produce a flower first, and then the flower turns into the product. If it's a squash, that squash is then the seed. You produce that flower, then it sheds the flower, and then it becomes a squash. In fact, some vegetables, the beautiful flower, you can have a flower garden out of plants. Behind us is pepper called bell pepper, which is also a seasoning product. To those who may not know, loofah is a sponge, and most ladies know it's very good for cleansing the skin. They can wash dishes with it. And what's fascinating when loofah's growing is the tentacles. And the kids ask me, what are they for? And I show them that it's a climbing product. And the tentacles latch on to whatever it is. And one little boy came out, he held his finger and said, Brother Wali, will it wrap around my finger? I said, yes, if you stay there long enough. Over here is butternut squash. And it has to be directed to upper back collard, which it has the tentacles to hold to. Now, butternut, it's a good squash for baking. I'll have to come back out here and get rid of those. So you have to watch them. They have the squash bug. That's what that white powder is for. When it rains, you have to reapply it. So now I have to come back here and check those bugs because they hatch so fast. And if you don't, they destroy the squash from the bottom. They get on there and they'll eat away and they kill the plant. Yeah, almost everything has an enemy. Most of it's a 4x8. But this bed here, I built it purposely to show that if you didn't have a large area, you could go lateral, you go vertical. And the ladders are there to go up and work. I'll walk up and show you how you attend. You need to pick. You walk up the ladder. Plant it to pick the tomatoes. And dry from the sun. And if you can see, the water sprays in the top bed, then filters down through the bottom. This is pumpkin. And when they come on the vine, I'm going to put a little rack here and there. Then you're going to see the pumpkin up there. And this is cherry tomatoes, a small tomato. And they're starting to turn to get ripe. You can see it's starting to turn. All corn. These trees were loaded with blooms in the spring, in April and May. We have to come up with a way to cover them so they can survive. It's a little difficult at this time. Grapes usually can get by because they bloom, they are a little late, bloom a little later. But it affected them, but at the bottom, it seemed to produce. It killed most of the grapes on the top, but the ones on the bottom survived. It's in nature, some things are stronger. Oh, definitely. Definitely science is involved in knowing and understanding your soil or what helps produce and the things that you can add to it and things that you can take away. Next season, my sister and I will perhaps remove some of the black soil, some way to get some red soil around it and see if that works. The trees have to be pruned. You cut down on the limbs because if you, the more it produces, the smaller it would be. Cut it down on the pruning by cutting so many limbs off, and then the fruits that's on will be larger, will be a bigger plum. Everything has to, I get its nutrients. A person, or an animal eats the plant, but the plant gets it from the earth, draws it up through its roots and gets into it. It has to be fed, and it has to get water and nutrients from the earth. Yeah. We say fruits, vegetables, and the other thing is herb, because that's your medicine. There's an herb for everything. That's an herb for something. Whatever ailment you have, there's an herb for it. You just have to know what it is. And some of the older generation, before you had hospitals and so much, your modern day medicine, they relied on that for treatment of ailments. I have an herbalist who takes care of the herb garden, and this is her project here. She wanted to plant an elderberry tree. I had a couple of years of ag, and that was one of the things that we were taught, how to graft, how you would cut a limb off of one particular tree, splice in something from somewhere else, wrap it, and then that fruit would be mixed. Yeah, that's what a graft is. So nectarine is a grafted fruit. It's a cross between a peach and a plum. Watermelons and cantaloupes, they will bother those, and the best deterrent is string. And so when the watermelons start to produce, I will run string and crisscross the string because they're very suspicious animals. They don't like to walk in the trap, so they don't do that. They don't bother my beds at all because they look like traps. They don't want to go with anything that's trapped. They're very cautious, so they don't touch anything down there. But out here in the field, that's different. Nothing else is that bad except squirrels, which you think that would be satisfied with nuts. No, they'll eat the tomatoes, strawberries, peaches, plums. They're worse than the deer. Yes. Field products here be watermelon, okra, corn. And when water stands, here's another science. And the reason you put your product, your vegetables up on a mound is because when it rains, the water will run off into the ditches, which is the fur. If you allow the water to set on your plant, the sun comes when the water and it heats it up, it will scald the plant. It's just like having it in hot water. It'll kill the plant too. That's why I have a problem there with too much water and losing the plant to the heat, to the hot water. So this is to tell your backyard or wherever you are, just find a place that you can plant some seeds. You'd be surprised what you can produce. And you can grow upside down. I have tomatoes in each one of these little holes. Everybody thinks it's a birdhouse. And tomatoes will grow upside down. And when they start coming down, you see them fold up because everything goes up to the sun. The sun draws it. And that's another thing that the children learn, that fowl, chickens, and ducks like grass. Yeah, the chicken, all fowl has to get some vegetation. You say, what are the birds eating out there? What are they finding? They find plenty. Now, when the predator, whatever the animal goes in there,
it's a meat eater. He's going to go by and try to get that meat off of that. And when he does,
Tried it with the turkey, the wild turkey.
Mm-hmm.
I caught two in the pen over there. I put some feed in there, and it was two. They were babies. They weren't full grown, and they went into the pen. I closed them up, but they were so frantic in there. I had to release them because they were going to, they're going to just kill themselves or something. So I let them go. That's what's fascinating about things in nature. The predators all have this special gift or whatever it is that God put in their instinct or their eyesight or their movement. It's just fascinating. And that's why there's so much to be learned in the environment out there, and that children don't get enough in school. Yeah, it's like the little boy that didn't know the chicken had feet. Yeah. Oh, Mom, the chicken got feet. And, when you think about that. And my question to him is, well, how do you think it's going to walk? But the chicken I see in the supermarket didn't have feet. The whole concept of farming really teaches about life itself because farmers have to plant a seed. Farmers have to understand the environment, the weather, the sun. All of these things are all part of the natural environment. And the more you get to understand that, I call what I do with kids source orientation. Source. Kim Massey wrote this book for me, and I think she did an excellent job because if you read it, she got the message across that I wanted conveyed. Children are our most valuable commodity or product, and they have so much in them and so much to offer, and by acquainting them with farm life, because farm life is so, I'll get rid of the word compatible to life itself. Scripture, those people who familiar use scripture, and Jesus's parables are always almost about planting seeds or something. He would give it and relate it to something related to farming or related to the land. Uh, Even the ox in the ditch concept. He said, well, the Sabbath would be kept holy. He said, but if the ox was in the ditch, what was the ox? Was a farm animal. You couldn't leave the ox in the ditch. You had to get him out on the Sunday, which is the Sabbath. You know what I mean? That's what that was. So that related to farm life. And then if the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man sowing seeds. Seeds. So you understand that you put something in the earth, it comes up, it falls on rocky ground, it don't grow well. It has to be nurtured and to get. And it also teaches you about the giving back concept. Nothing, I think, illustrates that more than farm life. In order to get the plant for next year, you have to save some and give it back to the earth, so it will reproduce that for you again. You put it back down there, so it comes back. And when you put it down, it doesn't just bring it up as one more seed. It triple fold, more fold. A plant comes up with 10, 15, 20, whatever amount that's on that. It shows that. So giving is paramount. It's better to give than to receive. You, to take and to hoard does just the opposite. So when your child feels that he doesn't have to take, he doesn't have to, that give that person, help that person become better. The objective is to nurture growth to full development. These plants out here starts off as a little seed, but they have to be nurtured. You have to get the environment. Got to give it some water, see that it gets sun, and let it nurture to full growth, and then it develops a plant, and that it will feed you. You go and get that plant, and that's your dinner. But you help nurture that. And so nurturing and feeding and giving back, it teaches a profound lesson. And with, I guess, If I was to say any one single thing, that would be the art of giving back, the art of giving instead of taking. What I want to implant by doing what I do, and particularly when it comes to children, because children, it's the same concept. Plant, they're the future. If you planting this plant, yeah, that's this year's crop. They're next year's crop, you know, and and so let's help them to grow good like these plants. Let's be a good tomato, a good person, and to nurture and whatever talents that they have or skills or whatnot, hone it, develop it, work at it. And the other thing that farm guys teach you that it's not that easy, quick fix idea, and the work ethic is part of it. If you're afraid of work, farm life is not for you. If you're lazy, they don't go together. You got to get up early, get your rest. All of those things that you studied when you was going to school, early to bed, early to rise, get up, and with Ben Franklin to make you healthy, wealthy, and wise. Do those kind of things and develop and be consistent and let it become your habit. Let it become who you are. Um, and be willing to go through the process. The other thing is, with the move with the world of TV and instant digitness, you get things right away. But farming doesn't produce like that. You got to go through the whole season. You got to put up with some things, hot weather, cold weather, all these things, and you learn to take it in stride. You get hot, sure. You get tired, sure. Uh, but not discouraged, not. And then you learn what the next best. I think the Scouts an excellent program, and I remember growing up. I wasn't a Scout, but I was exposed to it. Is that there's these little principles that you're learning. You're learning to be responsible for something, for yourself, for your country, for others. Something besides selfishness. And if you can live a life of selflessness, where you're not the center, you will really be judged about how you affect others. And the way God is, the way the universe is constructed, is that uh, it automatically gives back. And if you follow that principle, everything that's physical has a spiritual counterpart. It'll come back to you. Good will come back to you. Somebody will hear about it, and it will surprise you to find it when it comes back. Wow. And if you try to hoard and squeeze everything, you don't do yourself any favors. It's like holding your hand. Of course, nothing get out and nothing gets in either.